Hi, I'm Premnaath and I'm from Malaysia. Currently, I'm studying medicine in Medical University of Warsaw, and I've been living here in Poland for more than 5 years now. Well, actually, I'm under my government scholarship. I, as a student, get to choose what I like to study, and the country will be decided by my government. And that's how they chose Poland for me. But it's definitely a good choice. I remember 5 years ago when I came to Warsaw, I couldn't believe my eyes that this is actually a capital city. Because coming from a country like Malaysia, where we have Kuala Lumpur, which is famous for the Twin Towers, Kuala Lumpur Tower, and as well as all the other Asian cities around, which are highly architecturally modern and developed, Warsaw was first very disappointing. But now, I think Warsaw is definitely one of the highly developed and most interesting cities in Europe. Definitely love it. Especially when it comes to kotlets schabowy, bigos, and pierogi ruskie. That's one of my favorite stuff. And what I like in particular about Polish cuisine is the fact that they have lots of soup, which is not as extensive as in Asian cuisine. People have asked me about this fruit called durian. What is it about? Actually, it's also known as the king of fruits back in Malaysia. Because of the size, it's big and it's very thorny or horny. And then, but inside it's very soft, and the smell is it's not pleasant at all. But the taste, according to people, is quite sweet. Actually, it's because of the smell. You could see in the airports, for example, if you come to Malaysia, you could see in the airport or even in the flights that one of the signs that they have is no durian, because the smell is really strong, and it's something that not many people could take it. And for those people who could handle the smell and try the fruit, they loved it. So I think it depends on people. Some people like it, some people hate it. Unfortunately, I'm not in favor of the fruit, mainly because of the smell. So if you go to Malaysia, I would highly recommend you to try the fruit, because that's definitely one of the things we are famous for. What I like about Poland, first of all, the history. I think it's amazing to see Poland as a country from the beginning, and then to the union of Lithuania, how it became a huge empire in Europe, or even one in the world actually. And then from then, it was divided into three, and it lost all its borders for about 123 years. And then its role in the World War II, how much it affected the country, and the communism and the post-communism. The entire history is extremely interesting for me. And despite all this, Poles still maintain their identity, their strong identity. And that's what I think is extremely the most interesting thing about Poland to me. Apart from that would be public transportation. In my country, in Malaysia, most of us, we have our own mode of transportation, be it cars and be it motorcycle. So coming here and being able to use the public transport like metros, buses and tram, and which are very punctual, was very exciting and was a new experience. I really like it. I could rely on them. I could go wherever I want, whenever I want, without any problems. The next thing which I like about Poland would be like the parks. I think it's a nice culture in Poland where you go for the park, you walk around there, and they have many beautiful parks here in Warsaw, particularly in Warsaw. I think it's a green city. And the parks here are full with beautiful architecture, sculptures, so it's fantastic. What was really surprising was when I saw a mother pushing a baby stroller in the middle of winter, -20, walking for a park. So I think that explains how strong the culture of going to the park here it is. And I love it, because in Malaysia it's extremely humid, so it's not that popular for us to go for a walk in the park like it is here in Poland. The smile. Because when you walk down the street, what I notice is that many Poles generally they look sad, or they look stressed, or they look depressed. Maybe it's because of the weather, but I wish people could at least smile a little bit more. I mean, it produces good hormones, so it will just make other person feel good and yourself feel much better, even in the worst days. And the last thing which I'm not really fond of Poland would be the aggressive babcias. This is something which is quite particular. I've noticed, especially in the trams along Jana Pawła and around the center, where sometimes when you get onto the trams or the buses, you're sitting and you just have this one babcia standing next to you and looking down on you, or with a walking stick giving you the stare because they want the seat. Sometimes I know it's a courtesy to give them seat, but you would want to do it out of your own free willing, not because you were intimidated by someone. Yeah, the Polish parties, I think it's definitely one of the most surprising things I've ever seen. Because on one hand, you have the students' party, where it was shocking for me to see how much of vodka shots a Pole can handle. It's really surprising. And that too, it happens in the pre-party. And after midnight, then you go to a club, and then by the time you come back home, you'll see the sunrise. So the amount of the partying here, it's a bit shocking. It's entertaining, but it could be a little bit extreme for some, but it's definitely not for the weak. And on the other hand, you have the family parties, which is connected with the festivals like Easter or Christmas. During those parties, you have unlimited food supply for, 3-4 days non-stop, from the soup to the main dishes right up to dessert. The only thing you do is just eat and drink non-stop for several days. But it's nice though, because most importantly, what I enjoy with both these parties are the warm Polish hospitality. The funny situation I've encountered in Poland, firstly, was the language with tak. Because tak in Polish, it means yes, but in Malaysian language, it means no. So at the beginning, for me to say yes, it was a little bit difficult. I was confused. Sometimes to a question. I just want to say no. And I just remembered with the Malaysian language. So I answered according to that. So it was a little difficult for me to adjust to that at the beginning. And later, there's another problem with the Polish term no, because it means yes in Polish, but no as in English. Even that too was a little bit difficult for me to get hold of for some time. But after 1 or 2 years living here, I think I'm quite used to it. The other funny situation that I encountered over here is when a friend of mine invited me for a meeting around 8 p.m. And generally in Malaysia, when you meet someone around that time, 8 p.m. Or 1 p.m., you tend to meet up for food, because that's normal time for us to have lunch or dinner. And I didn't eat before that. It's because I thought, oh, okay, definitely we're going to a restaurant or somewhere to eat. But then I was surprised when we met up for coffee or beer. So it was really surprising, because I felt it was an unusual time to meet up just for coffee or beer. So that's what I think I find it a little bit funny, because it's a little bit different in terms of culture, both in Malaysian culture and as well as here in Poland. Pozdrawiam internautów Wirtualnej Polski. Selamat menonton kepada penonton Wirtualna Polski.